I see Inexorable in the chat. Who's your favorite player by nickname here? And tell me why it is Thick Beams. Thick Beams, he better only make Colossus and Void Rays. Better only have the thickest of beams. But here we go, we're jumping into our next game, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the Brazilian Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Eximius Gaming. It is Kamikaze. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the Brazilian Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Team Hellfire. It is AlisoN, aka AlisoN. Let us go. If you're in the chat, predictions should be opened. You can place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck, as we are settling in from here. And again, I do think the series, or these two players, are quite comparable in skill. A part of me wants to give the edge to AlisoN, but again, I haven't casted too much of AlisoN in recent months, so it's kind of hard to call how they do compare. Meanwhile, Kamikaze, known for his mech, but is he willing to mech it up against Protoss? That is the question. That is the question. And so now Kamikaze is scouting for proxies, checking on the right-hand side, making sure there are no shenanigans underway. And it is a double gas opener out of Kamikaze, going for a faster factory, going for faster tech. Likewise, AlisoN back at home, going for the Gate Cyber Expand. So far, so good. There's that factory a little bit further back, just to make sure it's hidden from any kind of scout. Now we can embrace our TvP. Meanwhile, we can see AlisoN doing the same as we saw from Kamikaze, just scouting towards the northern side of the map, looking for any stray proxy. Both players being very careful. See the chat. For once I didn't show up at the end of the tournament. Let's go! Good to see you, Pappy. Good to see you. The doctor is in. As the Reaper does move out, and AlisoN is going for a Robo Opener. Interesting. A bit of a more niche build. We rarely see Robo Openers nowadays at the competitive level. You see them every now and then. A couple of months ago, this was very trendy amongst the Korean Protoss players, but did kind of fall off. And we'll see how AlisoN does incorporate this. Now, typically, when it comes to our tech of choice in this matchup for... Oh my god, never mind! I was going to say, for Protoss players, you have the Robo Opener, you have the Twilight Council, and the Stargate, of course, as well. Robo Opener usually leads into fast Colossus, can lead into a Bay, into Colossus production, but that's a Robo into a Twilight Council. Very intriguing. This could be the beginning of a 2-base all-in, especially if we go into Immortal production early on. The Observer's on the way for detection. But I'm curious to see if we do start early Immortals, if we go into a War Prism, and what is done with the Twilight Council. It's going to be charge. Okay. We are rushing into charge here for AlisoN. Meanwhile, at the same time, Kamikaze did open up a reactor to Reaper Hellion. His goal here is to get economic damage, heading into the natural. Points are being pulled. The Hellions! The probes are lining up. Hellion shots going off as well. Probes are going down. Nice around here with the workers. Well, that's going to be 6 probe kills on the Reapers. They bust into the main base. They scout the tech. They scout the Robo, the Twilight Council, the research. They get even more damage done, denying so much mining time. 7, soon to be 8 probe kills. 9 probes going down. 10 workers. Ay, ay, ay. Not like this. 10 probes full. 10 probes full, and just like that, Kamikaze takes a massive economic lead. Back at home, he's setting up. A bunker is done. Tanks are on the way. Now Kamikaze just has to survive the counterattack. Ooh, does rally his Cyclone into the natural, though. A little bit brutal. AlisoN juggling in. Attempting to chase down the Cyclone. Cyclone will survive. More Zealots are reinforcing. It's going to be 3 gates in total. More Zealots are coming in. And back at home, Kamikaze does not have a full wall. Does have some Sim City, but is lacking much of an army. Here we go. It's going to be all or nothing here for AlisoN. Charge is done. Going for another round of reinforcements. Can AlisoN break the natural? Ooh, Kamikaze thinks it's Blink. Does believe it's Blink. The tank is in the main. Bunker in the main base as well. This army out of position. AlisoN instead does actually go into the main as well. Okay. Fortunate for Kamikaze. Zealot's dropping in, going for the tank. Bunker is empty. Prism goes down, and no more reinforcements. Boys are being pulled. And Kamikaze will clean this up. Not without losing a handful of SCVs. I say a handful, that's going to be 6, 7, oh my god, 10 SCVs going down. Zealots, they wreak havoc. The bunker is full of workers, not Marines. Oh, a bit of a messy defense here out of Kamikaze. Very scrappy. 11 SCVs go down. The Zealots, they do well. Now they head towards the natural. More SCVs falling. Ay, ay, ay. And this is getting out of hand. More Zealots on the way. Warping in 3 at a time. Observer gets away. Does avoid the Marines. Stim is done. But AlisoN, not too bad. Gets another worker. Denies any kind of mining at the natural. Behind this, AlisoN has been probing up. There's the Bay on the way for Fast Colossus. Blink as well. Soon to be a third. And +1 is going to be denied. AlisoN, he's popping up. Up! They should be able to bring it down. He gets us around. That's a deny. That's a cancel on +1. And Kamikaze stuck on a 1 base economy. Ay, ay, ay. Prism goes down. And from here, AlisoN, he's running away with this. He's getting fully saturated on 2 bases, getting a 3rd expansion as well. AlisoN is vulnerable to an all-in, is what I will say. But Kamikaze is taking a 3rd CC. That's a 3rd base on the way for Kamikaze. Is going for a longer, later game. Is macroing up, going for a single Marine drop. Stim is done, alongside combat shields. And AlisoN doesn't have the most amounts of anti-air. He has a couple of Stalkers. Has a Colossus. So the drop can slip in. Gets eyes on the 3rd. Kamikaze is aware. Kamikaze does stim in, gets a probe, gets a kill on the shield battery, not bad. Dropping into the main. Does drop into the main base, is denied. AlisoN will be able to defend, does hold, getting up to 2 Colossus. I still will favor AlisoN in this position. Again, still has a greater economy. Has quite an army to work with as well. With 2, soon to be 3 Colossi. Extend on Milan's almost done as well. And the Kamikaze behind this is trying to recover. 3rd base on the way. Still on 37 workers. Still can barely sustain himself. Really, I'm just waiting for the moment for AlisoN to move out. And he should be pushing with 3 Colossi. Like, that's kind of like the sweet spot here for Protoss. Is that triple Colossus timing? Drop tips in. Up! Drop is denied. Still at least poses a threat and will keep some supply pinned back in the main. There's a gateway explosion. That's a lot of gates. That's a lot of gateways to work with. Ay, ay, ay. Do we have a Warp Prism? Not yet. Okay, so we're still waiting for the Warp Prism to reinforce. A 4th Colossus? Okay. Okay, calm down, AlisoN. Calm down. I mean, we are supply blocked, but a 4th Colossus on the horizon. I don't see AlisoN moving out without a Warp Prism, so still being more defensive. There it is. Prism's on the way. Does cancel the Colossus, thankfully. Was a bit overkill. You know, Kamikaze going for a double drop there. Cannons in position. Cannons are ready for this. I'll buy time. I will allow AlisoN to respond. Cannons will go down. AlisoN can snipe the medevacs. Gets 1. Denies the other. Does it away. At the same time, dropping the main base. Doesn't pull the trigger yet. But here comes the move out. It's a massive warping of Zealots. The Prism has the right to reinforce. And Kamikaze has to do whatever he can to buy time. Drop into the natural, forces a response out of the main army. Does rotate back. Likewise, we can still drop into the main. And the Kamikaze is fortifying himself. We have a decent minefield. We have some SimCity here with the depots. Vikings are amassing. The more Vikings, the better here against 3 Colossi. Here comes AlisoN's move out. And Kamikaze, is he ready for this? No bunker here at the 3rd. Oh. No bunkers. The Widow Mines have potential for damage. True. That's going to be a lot of Zealots. 25 Zealots diving in. The drop moves out. Now is not the time. Colossus, they slowly work their way through the wall. Zealots, they dive in. Widow Mine shots going off. Decent mine shots. But the choke point doing well. The Colossus are stuck attacking the depots. They just wasted DPS. Kamikaze's holding. Very nice hold. Going for a counter drop. AlisoN reinforcing with Stalkers. Pushing in. Denies the 3rd. And the Kamikaze does not turn around. He's crazy. He commits across the map. Trying to force a recall, I would imagine. Saves most of his SCVs. 3 SCVs go down. And AlisoN does recall. Does decide to recall back home. Ooh, gets a full medevac. Kamikaze can re-expand and has to set up his SimCity once again. Has been able to recover economically. I mean, look at the worker count. 56 to 57. The drops are still active. Headed towards the main. Forcing a defensive warp in. AlisoN being kept back at home. Being kept busy. But moving out once again. Like, AlisoN still has a terrifying army. And can still break through this. Zealots are on the way. Down to 2 Colossus. But this time there's that much less to defend. This time there's no Widow Mines. This time there's less SimCity. Oof. Boys being pulled away. Same time Kamikaze simming into the 3rd. But there's an army in position. AlisoN this time is ready for it. AlisoN is willing to commit here into the natural. The boys are being pulled. It's going to be a last-ditch effort. The Vikings, they will shut down the Colossus at least. Decent force field. Colossus go down. Vikings, they can land. Kamikaze can take the fight. He comes in for the surround. Not bad. Takes down the Colossus. Takes down most of the Stalkers. But it did come at a cost. At the cost of 20 SCVs. Kamikaze's all in. It's all or nothing at this point. And he needs to send it across the map. Just pulling all the boys from the main. All the SCVs are being pulled. And the longer this goes on, the worse it becomes for Kamikaze. We gotta send it. Send it, papi. On the high ground to Colossus, Disruptor production has begun. Disruptors are on the way. There's also going to be a force field. Oh. Unable to force field the ramp. Prism goes down. Vikings going for the Colossus. SCVs tanking some shots. Bio army trading well, but alas, SCVs are going down. And Zealots, they collapse on top of the bio. And AlisoN's going to be able to completely clean this up. GG, well played. AlisoN takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. An intense back and forth. There was some good moments for both players. Likewise, an impressive defense by Kamikaze. But alas, AlisoN was able to snowball out of control with those Colossus, with that initial push towards the 3rd. Kamikaze, unfortunately, was just unable to buy time, unable to really hold on against it. Even before that, though, there was just this wild initial zealot aggression from AlisoN, and Kamikaze did misread the situation. If you remember, Kamikaze was ready for Blink Stalkers, when really it was a charge lot push instead. Was able to bust into the main base, get on top of the tank, was able to get on top of the bio before they could dive into the bunker, and GG. GG, well played. AlisoN does take a lead in the series, but now we're jumping into game number 2. Let's go. Let us go. Here we go. Someone asking in the chat, both AlisoN and Kamikaze, they're around GM, I will say. So they do lie, but here we go. We're getting into game 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura. We have the Brazilian Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Zimi's Gaming. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is Kamikaze. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Brazilian Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Team Hellfire. It is AlisoN. A literal Kamikaze mission, true. I mean, it was all or nothing, and after what occurred in game 1, Kamikaze is looking to spice it up here in game 2 with the proxy. Let's go. The ranks has been placed. An interesting location. It is further back than I would expect, so I'm curious if Kamikaze is planning to go for a proxy 1-1 or for even a proxy Marauder build, as 2 gases are being taken back at home. Yeah, we'll see how committed Kamikaze plans on being with this. We shall see. Now, if you recall, last game, we saw that AlisoN was very adept when it came to scouting for proxies, especially at the third base locations. And the probe will confirm, no shot, does head towards the right hand side and will actually come across the proxy ranks. AlisoN does spot this. Alas, is still rallied across, but at least AlisoN is aware. And AlisoN might set up his own proxy to counterattack even. This Kamikaze does check. I mean, the building SCV may have spotted the probe. He's looking for the, yeah, he's looking for the worker. Looking for the counter proxy pylon. It's going to be Reaper. Reaper's on the way. Factory back at home. So this is going to be just some light aggression out of Kamikaze. It's not a committed all-in or anything like that. There's no, you know, eBay block. There's no bunker yet on the low ground either. And there it is. Okay, it's going to be Reaper into Marauder. I assumed it was going to be Marauder first, if you recall. But yeah, just goes for the Reaper first, just to hunt down the probe and to deny the scout. Reaper is revealed. Probe goes down. AlisoN opening up Robo on one base. Very defensive setup here on AlisoN. You could argue overly defensive. You can definitely expand and then go for a Robo behind it. But this should be for early Immortal production. So AlisoN taking this very seriously. As the starport is also going to be proxied. So Kamikaze going for a one base all in. AlisoN going for a one base defense. Shield battery is done. You can see AlisoN playing very carefully. Very scared. Robo's done. And there's the Immortal. Ooh, we are supply blocked though. Okay, just for a moment. Immortal's on the way. Shout out to Scar in the chat. Papiga, obrigado. Thank you so much for the support, as always, as always. I know that we've been interacting a little bit less ever since the off-season of EPT was announced, but gracias. Thank you so much for the 30 months of support. Much appreciated. Fala galera, papi. Fala galera. Here we go, Marauders. They are amassing. Likewise, proxy second ranks. Medevac's on the way. Again, it is a one-base all-in. even Cyclones as well. A bit of a kitchen sink. We have Marauders, we have Cyclones, Concussive Shell, Medivacs, Second Racks. It's all coming together. And again, AlisoN did stay on one base, which I'm a little bit concerned by, but now is expanding. I would love to see a forward shield battery. There's a shield battery in the middle line, but no shield battery here on the low ground. Not yet. The army is spotted. Can AlisoN hold? It's going to come down to the force fields. So far, so good. Nice juggling, though. Kamikaze does save the Marauder. Takes down one of the Cyclones. But the sentries go down. And AlisoN just cannot contend against this. Not without a shield battery. You can see AlisoN being dragged out into the open. Honestly, I feel like Kamikaze can engage. He can fight this. He can fight this head on. Stalker being forced back. 3 Stalkers in total. Still no shield battery. Get us a shield battery, baby. We can get it on the low ground with the pylon. Kamikaze getting forced back. AlisoN buying time, holding. I'm still concerned about the lack of shield battery, not gonna lie. Love to see one. Natural being saturated. Army is revealed. AlisoN, bleeding out one of the Stalkers. A second Stalker as well. Oh. And we see why. No shot as AlisoN is disconnecting. Now it's not the time. But that was very unfortunate. That disconnected did mean that those 2 Stalkers died for free. And I would not be opposed to rehosting. And even rehosting like a couple of seconds before the disconnect, because those Stalkers should not have died. And every unit does count in this game state. Every unit does matter. So unfortunately, it looks like we're gonna have to, unless AlisoN comes back. I mean, even if AlisoN comes back, I feel like we should rehost. There was also no fight that was happening 5 seconds ago as well, so I do think that would be fair. And AlisoN does time out, so unfortunately, just some connectivity issues. Whether it's the internet going down or even the power going down, which did occur last edition as well. Not for AlisoN, but for some other players. Does happen from time to time. Unfortunately, it's just something out of our control, and hopefully AlisoN, hopefully everything's okay, and hopefully AlisoN can continue to compete. Of course, there is a timer. Oh. And yeah, it sounds like the power went down. So the power went out at AlisoN's home. Is letting us know. Feels bad, man. So we'll have to wait for AlisoN to come back to us. We'll have to wait. Thanks for casting this tournament. Always, Asuka, always. De nada, de nada. But yeah, we will need some time to get things going. So we're going to be going on a short break, and hopefully we can resume the series, and hopefully there is no walkover. You know, hopefully there's no walkover here, and AlisoN is able to, you know, bring everything back. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Until then, take this moment to get some snacks, get some food, get some water, go to the bathroom, and come back to us here in a couple of minutes for the remainder of the series. We're coming back. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Looks like AlisoN has returned to us, and we are resuming from replay. We are recovering the replay as we speak, so we can jump back in. Again, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to resume a couple of seconds beforehand, but we'll see. We'll see where we do spawn in as the players are hosting the lobby. And then we can jump back into that defense. Oh boy. Here we go, and alright, we are jumping back in. Alas, it looks like we did come back in a couple of seconds before, but yeah, both stalkers did still fall, so that is really unfortunate. That may cost AlisoN the game, losing those two stalkers. Just because that was because of the disconnect. AlisoN gonna be diving in. Tank is gonna be targeted down. Prism falls as well. Oh my god. Yeah, you cannot break this location. Not into the tank, not into Liberator as well. The freedom is too much. Shield battery's on the way. But the shield battery is so delayed. No overcharge either. And Kamikaze is snowballing out of control. He breaks through the stalkers. Gets on top of the expansion. Overcharge gets pumped, but the Immortal's out of range. It's out of range. GG gets called. And Kamikaze ties up the series. GG. Series gets tied up, but again, that was just really unfortunate. And it's something that's out of our control as well. The fact that you know, a player's power going out in that moment in the middle of a game, it's brutal. It kind of takes you out of the game. It interrupts your rhythm as well when you're competing, when you're kind of in the moment and in the zone. Yeah, so really unfortunate there. For AlisoN, and hopefully everything's okay, and hopefully their power is able to be more stable. Hopefully no more disconnects. But that does mean that we're going to the ace match. We're going to game 3. Here we go. Here we go. So we're getting into the ace match. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have the Brazilian Terran player, the Red Terran, tying up the series last game with the one base all in. And we'll see if he can keep the series going. We'll see if he can keep up that momentum. It is Kamikaze. For Eximius Gaming, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Brazilian Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Team Hellfire. It is AlisoN. we go. Get tied up, and we're here in the ace match. It all ends here. It all ends in game 3. Once again, Kamikaze skirting around the edge of the map, and it looks like we are going for, okay, an eBay block. This time, not a proxy. The goal here is to avoid the probe scouts, slip into the natural, and deny the expansion. Here we go. As the SCV, I believe, should avoid the probe, and it does. Probe barely does not see, and the eBay has been thrown down. Now, the longer this eBay goes on without being scattered, the worse it becomes for AlisoN. If it does almost complete, then AlisoN is going to be forced to expand elsewhere, won't be able to take the natural, will be exposed as a result, will be vulnerable, as AlisoN is going to be stuck between 2 weird locations, the third and the main. Assuming that AlisoN doesn't proxy. And we are. The pylon has been placed, and AlisoN is opening up with cheese of his own. It's time to turn the tables, Pappy. Let's go. The tables are going to be turned. We do have a Zealot first here from AlisoN, followed by the Cybercore. With the Cybercore finishing up, this could be proxy Stargate, could be proxy Robo. AlisoN has options. Meanwhile, Kamikaze back at home, opening up double gas into a factory before CC. A very safe opener here. I say safe, meant to be an aggressive opener out of Kamikaze. And it is the proxy Stargate. Okay. Stargate has been placed. Ooh, Reaper is scouting towards the left-hand side. And the Reaper will come across the proxy. Massive scout here for Kamikaze. Does find the Stargate. Does find the gateway. Oof. And will shut down the probe. And from here, remember, because of the faster factory, that means faster cyclone. And this proxy is going to be shut down. Adept is making his way across the map. Zealot as well. AlisoN does not force a cancel on the eBay. AlisoN's going for an all-in. He's going for the all-in. Do we go Void Ray? Is that the plan? Reaper gets zoned back. And yes, Void Ray is on the way. Let's go. So proxy Void Ray out of AlisoN. With gateways to support, with reinforcements, it's going to be a one-base all, or it should be a one-base all-in from our Protoss player. And Kamikaze responds with one-base play as well. He's getting into a 1-1-1 tech lab on the factory. Interesting. That's going to lead into tank production. That won't help too much against the Void. Pylon gets placed, getting ready to throw down shield batteries. But Viking production has already begun. Like, this proxy Void Ray is delayed. You can see AlisoN trying to gain ground. Another gateway. Pylon on the high ground is denied. Cyclone production has begun. Getting ready for an add-on swap. Kamikaze going for a ninja base. Let's go. Going for top right. More Void Rays are amassing. Adepts as well. I'm not sure if this can be broken, though. No without shield batteries. Like, how do you shut down proxy Void Ray typically with Vikings? And we're about to have 3. 3 Vikings, 1 tank. 2 Cyclones as well. If AlisoN can maybe catch one of the Vikings on their own. Here we go. AlisoN's army is revealed. Into the depot. Viking shots going off. Void Ray's taking a lot of hits. You see how fragile they are. And there's no support on the ground. No stalkers. Void Rays are being hunted down. And I think that's just going to be game. There's no way to break in. That's the problem. There's no way to bust into the main. And Kamikaze is expanding. AlisoN's still in one base. Nothing else behind this. Void Rays got shut down. AlisoN trying to rebuild that Void Ray count. Now, we can see that there are no Vikings. There's only 3. Like, there's no additional Viking production. Interesting. Which means going back into Void Rays could actually work. To break this position. Marines are amassing. They're going to be vanilla Marines. E-base on the way. That'll be for turrets. Now, the goal here for AlisoN, if AlisoN can break through a depot and open up the main, then all the adepts can shade in. The adepts, they can shade in and they can kill the cyclones, the tanks. They can shade on top of the tanks and focus them down. So there is potential if AlisoN can knock down the wall. There's going to be a big if. Phoenix on the way. Phoenix can lift one of the tanks. Oh, turrets in production though. Turrets on the way. Kamikaze macroing up. Saturating the mineral line. Saturating the ninja base, I should say. With mules at least. As we're going for a Viking drop. I mean, Vikings, they do very well against probes, even with the shield battery. The Vikings, they pop off, they shut down the stalkers and the probes. Overcharge gets popped. Oh my god. The Vikings, they trade so well here. Getting 5 probe kills. But that also means they're not at home to defend. Vikings are not at home. Probe does scout the ninja base. And here we go, it's all or nothing for AlisoN. Does activate the pulsar beam, gets a cyclone, gets 1, gets 2. 2 cyclones go down, but oh my god, yeah, the adepts, they just melt against the wall. GG gets called, and Kamikaze takes game number 3 and the series 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Kamikaze will pull off the defense. Again, it was an interesting one-base all-in out of AlisoN. It was a little bit shaky though when it comes to the execution. Losing the first 2 void rays was brutal. The longer the game went on, the better it was for Kamikaze because of the ninja base. And with that, Kamikaze does take the series in the end. Does advance on. GG. GG, well played. And now we're getting ready for our next series, as it looks like we have a lot of updates. Oh my god. Let's go. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the series yourself. My condolences to AlisoN, as AlisoN is knocked out of the tournament. Is a strong player in his own right, but does fall at the hands of Kamikaze. And let's switch our